Hello, welcome along. Another watercolor here. This is the completed one. It is a pen, ink and wash, ink and wash watercolor. So I've used a fine ink pen. It's waterproof ink and a fine nib pen. And you might be able to see some of those pen lines in through there as well. It's just obviously a lighthouse attached to some sort of a dwelling, the sea spray coming up as well. That's the pen that I've been using. And this is a slightly thicker pen that I've got right now, so I'm just fixing up a few little details. I've got another ink and wash watercolor, which I want to do later on as well, on slightly bigger paper. The other one I'm doing or about to do later on is on A3 size paper. This one is A4 paper. That's the pen that I'm using there, just to fix up a few areas. Got a bit of a chisel point on it as well, which helps me get some thicker lines in there too. Bit of a telegraph pole you can see on the left hand side, with some electricity wires going into the house or the dwelling there near the lighthouse. So I'm going to wet the paper now, nice clean water. I'm keeping the water away from the lighthouse. I'm not letting the water go onto the lighthouse, I should say. And I'm avoiding water on the house as well. So everywhere else in the sky area will be water, clean water. It's going to be quite a stormy, blustery looking day as well. Make sure I get a good covering there. I'm just using this Winsor & Newton round brush just to put the clean water over. Give it a nice saturation. Again, I'm avoiding putting any water on the land, on the house, or on the lighthouse. I'm just covering the sky. Please subscribe and click that bell icon. It's a relatively new channel, this one, and I'm trying to get as many subscribers as I can. And once we get up to a certain number, I'll start off a Patreon and we'll do some exclusive watercolor and painting for those Patreon members as well as these general ones that I'm doing now. But with the Patreon, we can be more exclusive and give you some other ideas as well. This is Payne's Grey going on right now. Rather intense when I'm putting this on, but don't worry, there's a lot of water on the page, so that colour will fade back. And we also want to put some Prussian blue in here as well. That'll just give us a lovely, lovely blue, dark blue tone in there. I'm getting some Prussian blue, some more Prussian blue there, because I'm going to have to work fairly fast because this is drying all the time. I have not sped this up. This is the speed I'm actually painting at. I'm just tilting the board now. You can see those colours running down. That's what I want, and I want it all diffusing together. I'm going as fast as I can here because I really need to work fast so I can get this effect. I don't want the paint to dry too much because it won't flow as well. I'm just going to get a paper towel. Always good to have paper towel handy, just to wipe some excess watercolour which is dribbling off to the side, just to get that away. So yeah, it's being tilted all over the place. I'm sorry if you feel seasick while I'm doing that. You can see some paint gathered on the left-hand side of that lighthouse. It's a bit too dark there, so I'm going to tilt the page just to bring that away from there a little bit. Bit more Payne's grey in there, just on that part there. Let that flow down a bit. Now, to get that paint away from that lighthouse on the left-hand side of the lighthouse that you can see there, so I'm just tilting it up so that paint, a darker area on the left-hand side of the lighthouse, just flows away from the lighthouse, as you can probably see that happening. That's okay like that, I think. I just wanted it away from the lighthouse a little bit. So that's fine by me, that's fine. Now I want to create some ocean, some sea spray crashing up against that lighthouse. Now I can almost see that happening. You can see up on the lighthouse, what I'm doing now is just getting the area where the ocean's going to be. But if you look up onto the lighthouse, you can see that white area in the sky. It's virtually done it for me, really. But I'm going to go in there and I'm going to just fix that up so it looks more like some sea spray there, and also that sea spray will be around the rocks as well, and just coming over the roof a little bit. The roof on the house, not the top of the lighthouse, but the roof on the house on the right-hand side of the lighthouse. We'll have some ocean spray going over there as well. So this is just a hint of the ocean here that I'm painting in now. It's not going to be detailed or anything, it's because it's just blending in with everything else. But you will be able to tell that's part of the ocean. Okay. This is just white watercolor. and I'll be using white watercolour gouache as well fairly soon. But I just want this light, very light silky look here with this normal white watercolour. And then, as I said before, I'll be going back over that with a gouache, a white gouache. So this technique, they call it line and wash, or ink and wash, but line and wash, I suppose a lot of people call it that, is a really interesting technique, and you can actually make those lines that that are drawn in with the biro or the ink pen. You can make those lines very free and wobbly, although mine are fairly straight. But you can really free it up and make it look really arty as well. And so if there are bends and curves, it doesn't really matter. It's just a free and easy watercolour. And you can do that with a lot of line and wash paintings as well. It's just another technique, line and wash. I usually just do watercolour, just using watercolour. But it's interesting using an ink pen as well. It's a fine nib pen. It's not a biro, not a pen, but an ink. Almost like a felt pen, but very fine. And as I said before, the pen is waterproof as well. That's very important that you get one that's fade proof and waterproof. So this is using the Australian dark leaf green on here. We'll also be using some Payne's Grey on those rocks. And then we'll be using some burnt umber. Here comes the Payne's Grey. I'm just having to go over in parts and just darken up in some areas. This is using the burnt umber now. All right, this is the white gouache I was telling you about that I'm going to add on, or that I am adding on now. I'm creating this sea spray. I'm just bringing it out from the rocks a bit. I want it to look, I just want it to look fairly random. It's a bit, that's good. It's a little bit, I don't know, a little bit stark there. So I might just bring that back a little bit with a tissue or with the paper toweling. And then we can add to that again just to bring it back a bit, not so strong. Now we still need to work on that right-hand side of the lighthouse as well with that sea spray coming up, because it just looks too unified. So I've covered that, as you can see, with paper toweling. I've got some white gouache with plenty of water, and I'm flicking it onto the page with this fan brush. I'm having to do this quite a bit because I really want it to be quite intense, or the spray to be quite thick. I'm just bringing it up a bit. So I'm flicking it around in these areas where I want the sea spray to be. I've got the paper toweling over there so it doesn't go everywhere on the rest of the painting. Now I really want it to be more intense in here. Okay, and we're just going to have to touch that up a little bit as well, because that spray looks, I'll get back to that part. On the right hand side, I'll get back to that because that spray still looks a little bit contrived. So we want it looking a little bit more natural. So I'm putting a little bit of spray up on this side as well. using that white gouache. Now we're going to fix this up here. As I said, remember I said that spray there looked a bit too contrived or uniform, so I want it to look a little bit more random or natural. So I'm going to get a thin brush, and I'm just going to bring the, it's too uniform still, that spray around that house or the dwelling. I'll just lift this off carefully on the other side. There we go. Doesn't look too bad, but I'm just going to fix it up with a brush on the right hand side so it doesn't look so uniform. So a little bit more spray first of all, and as I'm spraying it down, you'll notice I'm just using the fan brush just to run a little bit of random white gouache or spray out from that. So now I'm using a nice bright red. This is Winsor & Newton red that I'm using. Very vibrant. I'm just going to create some, I don't know, some shadow or definition down this lighthouse. This is burnt sienna, putting on for the roof. We've still got to work on that lighthouse a bit more too. Now I want the sea spray to be going over this roof a little bit, this part of the roof anyway. As you can see, using some Australian dark leaf green here for this shrub, and then I'll put a little bit of lighter leaf green in on the top, just a bit. Just bring that back a tiny bit. Just to give this more definition down here, using some Payne's grey. Just tilting that board because there's some paint running, which I want to run the other way. Let's work on this sea spray again. This is some more gouache going on now. And we're really going to make this random, this spray coming out of here. That looks really, really good. Very random. Putting in a little bit of greenery there, not much. Using the leaf green. Just a light red there for the door on the lighthouse. Signing my name there. All right, just pulling the tape away from the paper, but I can still see that lighthouse. There needs to be a couple of changes to it, I think, just to touch that up a little bit more. There we go, just bring that back a bit. Yeah, I've just made some more changes to that lighthouse. I just put some more Payne's grey over there as well. It's just made it more defined and more three-dimensional in front of that ocean spray. I'm just going to touch up down below the top of the lighthouse there, just a tiny bit there, as you can see. We'll take off the top masking tape there. And we're left with a nice clean border, and that's now ready to frame. Just a very, very loose line and wash watercolour with that fine pen, which is waterproof, that fine ink nib pen, which is waterproof, and we've just added our watercolour on there as well. I'm happy with the sky as well. I think that's turned out really, really well. The sea spray, that's what I want. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe because we're wanting to grow this watercolour channel, and we can have fun together, learn together, experiment together. And as I said before, once I get up to a certain amount, I'll be starting the Patreon, and with that I'll be giving some exclusive ideas to the Patreon people. Here it is. This is the final one. Bit up close there for you. You can see very loose, very free line and wash watercolor. I hope you enjoyed that and you got something out of it. We'll be doing another line and wash very, very soon. So stay with us. We'll be back with another watercolor soon. Bye for now.